the ultimate WordPress noindex, nofollow directives. We're logged into our dashboard and let's go and explore this noindex, nofollow meta tags, and I'll share with you the best practices as well. Now, I'll be using Yoast SEO plugin because it has settings for us to control the indexation using Yoast. Okay, once we are logged into the dashboard, I'm going to show you how you can noindex certain parts. Let's go to categories, and let's imagine you have a particular category that you think, you know what, I don't want that particular category page to be in Google's index. If that's the case, let's press on edit on a sample category, and here press on the gear icon. Then you can set no index option here. So that's one way. For your tags, you can actually do that as well. For a particular tag, let's go and edit this one here. And let's say, you know what, for these tags, let's no index them. For your blog posts, it's the same process. For a single blog post, you can control no index using Yoast as well for individual blog posts. And for your pages, it's the same thing. Any page that you think, you know what, I don't want this page to be indexed by search engines who obey the rule for meta tags. Now, I'm going to show you something like this. Let's go to Yoast, let's go to XML sitemaps. Let's press on XML sitemap functionality. Let's go to page sitemaps. And here, these are all the pages. Now, this particular page is not here in the sitemap. But let me now set that to index. Let me update. Let me refresh the page sitemap. And that page is there now. So when you set no index using Yoast, that part that you're setting no index actually is removed from the sitemap, whether we're talking about posts, pages, categories, tags, and all that stuff. Okay, so let's close these up and let's go and find out what we're doing in terms of this no index, no follow stuff. Now, I've got mine coded manually, which I'm going to show you samples in a second as well. When we say index follow, what we're telling search engines like Google is that whatever they see on this document, the entire document, and whatever they choose to place in their database as in their index so that they can rank it. When we say index follow or just index, we're saying whatever is within this page, you can index it. Put it in your database, rank it, show it to people if it's appropriate. Now, when we say follow, we're saying whatever links you see on this document, you can go and follow it. Now, what if we select no index and no follow using meta tags? What if we do that? I'll actually show you a sample so that you actually see. Where are we? Let's go to public assets. Let's go to assets, because that's a category. Let me press on Ctrl U on the keyboard and let's go and see no index. Do we use no index for that? No. That is a category. Let's go and see Googlebot. Yes. Yeah, I know why we're seeing that. Let's go to the second page here, which is a pagination. Okay, I need to show you a different example. Let's go to SEO category. Let's go to the second page of this category. Let's go and see Googlebot. Here I've said, you know what? No index. That means don't index this URL. Whatever is within the source code, including the contents here. So I've said, you know what? No index, Google. Don't place the contents here in your index because there's nothing unique here. Let's go and then see this nofollow. Here there's a comment link somewhere, it's using rel nofollow. Let's go and place that into a sample anchor text here, which is basically a link. Let's update that file. Let's go view from the front end and let's take a look at this thing here. Let's press on F12 on our keyboard. Let's go and select this, and here we have nofollow, rel nofollow. That's different to this stuff here, because here we've said, you know what, follow Googlebot, follow all the links. That's what we've said. But then we've said nofollow on a single URL, single hyperlink. Then we said nofollow. What does this do? Well, this doesn't really do anything really. It's just going to pause Googlebot, because when Google looks at the links, it grabs the URLs, places it in its next to be crawled URL document. Let's imagine it like that. And if we say nofollow on a single link, we're saying, you know what, don't put this URL in next to be fetched URL list Googlebot. But it's nothing to do with your rankings when you end up using nofollow. Makes sense? Like the reason I say that is because it seems that most SEOs are confused about how to start using this nofollow on links. In fact, you shouldn't be using this nofollow. It's not going to affect your rankings like some people suggest. Okay, but indexation and controlling how to control what Google indexes, that's a different matter. That's definitely going to influence your rankings. At the beginning of this video tutorial, I've said the ultimate WordPress no index, no follow directives. So let's go to appearance, let's go to editor. And here, let's imagine you are using a theme that gives you access to header.php file. You definitely download this file and whatever is within it, so that if something goes wrong, you can always revert it. It's called header.php file. Within this file, I have created my own directives to control no indexation. Having said that, this is for my blog. Just take it as a guiding point as to what else you can do and basically set this up automatically, so you don't have to, using individual no index stuff, but instead code it to your header.php file, work out what parts of your website are unique and what parts of your website serves a purpose to your website visitors. Because what I'm going to show you may not be ideal for you to use for your own WordPress site unless you really do consider how to use no index, no follow, okay? Because you kind of understand what it does now, right? No index basically tells search engines like Google, you know what, don't put this URL, whatever the URL, in your database. That's what you're saying. Don't put the contents within it in your database. When you say no follow, you're saying, when you say no follow, you're saying don't follow these links. And best practices is, unless you have content that is perhaps, confirmation page or cancel order page, which, is only designed for your visitors, as in website visitors. So if you don't want those pages in Google's index because there's nothing unique there, then you set no index for that entire URL at meta tag level. And no follow can be done at meta tag level as well, covering the entire page. But no follow can also be used on individual hyperlinks. And once again, only in rare circumstances should you be using no follow on single URLs, okay? Now, header.php file, you can edit it from here, but I'm going to show you my local copy because it's color coded and it'll make more sense to you. So I've got all these up to here. Let me quickly first highlight it. Up to here, all these are controlling various parts of a WordPress site. And whether I grab that sample code and place it down the bottom, it makes no difference. Okay, it's just PHP for this example. This for search pages. Search pages should not be indexed in Google. So you can use Googlebot specifically, and Googlebot will actually obey it when you use Googlebot. You could have easily just used robots by themselves. But we're talking about Google rankings, and most of ranker videos are related to Google. So then for search, you can say, you know what, no index at search, and you use this PHP block for that. If is search, no index. But you can let Google to follow whatever the links on search results page. It's not going to make any difference for your rankings. And then I've set PHP if else block, covering basically most parts of a typical WordPress blog. Yeah, if you're using WooCommerce, then you have WooCommerce specific code, such as if is product, or if is category, and so on. So you can, control WooCommerce parts of your WooCommerce site as well. Keep that in mind, okay? For front page, yes, front page is your main domain. This is your front page. So use is front page for that. And it should always be indexed and followed. Is home. That is this. Usually that is the naming convention. If you've set static page for your blog post using settings, reading, created a page and called it whatever you wanted, and that becomes that. Now mine is custom, so I want search engines to access that page. Here I've said, okay, I know this is rather silly logic. Actually, it isn't silly logic at all. If it's home, because this could change, I could use a different template perhaps. Then I've said, is category uncategorized? Categories, by default, there is one uncategorized. Here. Well, I shouldn't have any URLs in here. I actually do have one, which is a private one. But if it's uncategorized, then that means I haven't done my job properly yet. Make sense? That means you have not categorized your blog post, which you should always categorize any blog post that you create. You can create new categories right from the add new blog post, or even from categories section of your WordPress site by saying, giving it a name, new, whatever you want, category A, for example, slug, you can leave as default because it's going to automatically generate one. Let's add a new category so that you see what happens. So that's a new category you can create right from here and delete or add it and do all sorts of stuff. And then I've said is category and not page. Let's go and learn what this not page is all about as well. Okay, for me to show you that, let's go to WordPress section, which is a category, and let's go to pagination. Let's go to page 2. Then when we say use this PHP WordPress specific with is paged, so that means when I use this is category not, because I'm using negation operator here, saying else if is category section of WordPress and using double N logical operator, and then I have negated is paged. That means if it's not in pagination, index. But if it is paginated, like this one here, that's paginated, no need for index here, because there's nothing unique here. Whereby previously on this category page, I could easily create unique content for this page itself. Perhaps give description. I'll show you what that means. For this category. Let's update. Let's go and see what happens now. Let's refresh. So I can have unique description here, but that's on this level here. If I go to the paginated part, that's still going to show up there, but now that's duplicated. Makes sense? It's nothing unique on the second page. So therefore, paginated parts of your WordPress site, you got to ask yourself, you know what? Do you really want Google to index those parts? Okay, it will depend on the website that you're working on, because WordPress sites, there are millions of them, and your setup could be somehow different and unique. When we say is attachment, let's go to library and let's press on this. Let's go to attachment page, because your media files do create their own attachment URLs as well. Usually for most scenario, no indexing that page, that URL will be good enough, because there's not much unique going on here. So always you got to ask yourself, do I have unique content on whatever different parts of my website? And if not, then how those duplicated pages serve the website visitor? Do they find those duplicated pages somehow useful? Because that could be the case on rare occasions. So then we have is author, then we can control the date archives, tags, is page, we're using the same. If it's not paginated, if it's paginated, that these are for your pages, and these are for your single blog posts. So if it's not paginated, that means that should be unique. But if it's paginated, then you got to ask yourself, you know what? That's rather duplicate, isn't it? For any blog post, because that's the way WordPress works. Paginated content are usually, there's nothing unique going on here. Okay. So, now, if what I've just shown you in this tutorial made sense, then sit back and start asking that question as to, you know what, how many different URLs do I have, and each URL, is it unique? If not, can I start telling search engines to remove certain parts of my website from their index? If so, you use noindex. Nofollow, once again, only on the rarest occasion should you be using nofollow, because it's not really going to help your Google rankings when you use nofollow, whether on the page level, whether on the single individual level. Now, once again, if it made sense what I've just shared with you, then by all means do use noindex, nofollow. But if it didn't make sense and you're rather overwhelmed and not understanding what's going on, then definitely don't use it unless you seek further help. As in, perhaps get someone else to, look at your website and see if using noindex meta tags are ideal. Because if you end up, doing things wrong using noindex at meta tag level, then some parts of your WordPress site may disappear from Google itself. So be warned, okay? In either case, they are useful, and WordPress actually makes everything very easy, particularly if you're using plugins like Yoast, giving you better control of indexation of your WordPress site, okay? I thank you very much for learning with me. If you've got any questions or comments, use the video commenting system, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.